Okay, so let's kick off. I'm here today with the guests. My name is Liza, and I'm a part today of a team of Ingenio Learning. And I'm delighted to be here today with two talented guests, which are Ethan Bond and Jack Matthews, who have joined us today to give some insight on the current state of the tech job market. And they will also share some of the points about the roles they're currently working on, give you some of the tips from their own experiences as recruiters, and maybe give you also the tips as to what to do to stand out. Hi, Ethan and Jack. How are you getting on?
Yeah, really good. Thanks, Liza. And yourself?
Yeah, very good. Thanks. And how about you, Jack?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you, Lisa.
Glad to hear that. So just for the introduction, what I will ask you guys is to maybe give a quick overview of what is your job is actually about. Ethan, would you start, please?
Yeah, of course. So my job with Ingenio is to essentially find people the job that they're looking for in sales, in SaaS sales. I work within the SaaS sales team, so that's anything from marketing roles right up to VP of sales. So anyone along the sales cycle, really.
Great. And what about you, Jack? What type of roles would you specialize in?
Yeah, so within Ingenio, as some of you may know, we have 4 practices, which are leadership, sales, technology, and product. I head up the SaaS technology and engineering practice. So my team and I, we recruit across the full SaaS technology spectrum. We try to provide market intelligence, salary guidance, career support, and obviously opportunities across the SaaS industry within Europe. And so that's what the team and I here do in Ingenio.
Great, thank you so much. And yeah, to anyone who is here in the first time, we are a business helping others land their jobs in technology industry, no matter what your background is, whether you're coming from a senior or junior background. And to help job seekers on a weekly basis, we are running these webinars on Wednesdays to give you these tips and hacks in the job search. And plus, we're also going to be having the Q&A at the end. So if you have already any questions on your mind, you can just put them in the chat box. And yeah, the second business, as Jack has already mentioned, is a leading tech and software business in UK and Ireland. And yeah, let's probably kick off to our topic, which is the SaaS job hunting accelerator. This month, we're going to be heavily focused on the tech and software industry, and to give people an overview and give an insight on what's happening there at the moment. And as a part of our series, today's topic is preparing for the job market recovery to get hired. It's indeed very frustrating for a lot of applicants at the moment what is actually happening with the labor market landscape, and thereby we wanted to talk today to the real-time recruiters to help you guys understand as this is our real-time recruiters who can have their real feedback about it. All right. So just for the introduction, what we will help you understand today is, yeah, as I said earlier, what's happening on the market at the moment. Ethan and Jack are going to share the roles that they're currently working on and give you some of the tips afterwards. So guys, would you maybe give some understanding of what is happening currently on the tech job market at the moment? Ethan.
Yeah, of course. So I think for me, what I would say about the job market right now across SaaS sales, it's the busiest I personally have ever seen it. Really, at the moment, we've got a lot of businesses that are trying to make up for lost time. Obviously, a lot of businesses were affected by COVID. And what they're doing is they're making up for that lost time right now. And especially those powerful software houses and other businesses that really excelled during the COVID period. So they're really ramping up right now. So really fantastic time to be looking for an opportunity in SaaS.
Great. And would you find any specific growing and hiring sectors within SaaS?
Yeah, so personally, I've seen a massive spike in the clients that I have, especially in the security sectors, edutech, and also I'd say in the unified communication space. I mean, unified comms is the way we're all kind of going now. So be that with your Zoom meetings or other platforms. So definitely three areas I think are growing quite well at the moment.
Okay, understood. That's great. And speaking, so there's clearly some changes on the company side, on the client side. What would be happening on the candidate side? Can you maybe give an overview, Jack? What are the most wanted skills at the moment in the kind of development, engineering, and technical type of roles in SaaS at the moment?
Yeah, look, I think it's interesting from our perspective as a team here. We're working with a multitude of clients across a variety of sectors, from healthcare to financial services, smaller startup fintech companies, and there's a huge demand for highly skilled software engineers that would specialize, particularly in areas such as Java, of course, .NET. I think they would be two of the core languages that that clients that we work with are recruiting for at the moment. I think also there's been a big upturn, particularly over the last 12 months, where lots of clients are looking to recruit across their data analytics space. We've found a lot of clients in Dublin in particular are starting to create European Centre of Excellences for data and analytics, and we've seen a huge upturn with regards to roles that were sort of specialised within that discipline. I think another key discipline that the SaaS industry are sort of really recruiting into at the moment would be cybersecurity. I think obviously with SaaS platforms being built within the cloud, cybersecurity is really it's a hot topic at the moment. And with what's happened this year in Ireland with the HSE, for instance, I think a lot of companies and a lot of CTOs are recruiting heavily within that space, and that starts from the Chief Information Security Officer and works its way down all the way to your sort of entry-level security engineers. So I'd say the four key disciplines that we recruit for are software engineers, predominantly Java and .NET, cybersecurity, data scientists within data analytics, and product professionals as well. So people that can come in and enhance current products that have been built, and also sort of look to the future in order to flesh out a product vision over the next 5 years and how companies can evolve and add to what they've currently got within their portfolio.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, thank you so much. That was a very, very great answer. And yeah, indeed, there's a lot of data analysis professionals at the moment who are based in Ireland, and there's a big amount of talent. And Ethan, what do you think are the most wanted skills across sales roles in SaaS?
I think, barring the obvious, which is obviously a bit of experience and results, I think if you take that out of consideration, what a lot of businesses want to see is people that have shown that resilience throughout the last few years, especially, or the last year especially, I should say, because when we're recruiting, especially for people that are joining into the SaaS world who are quite on the newer side of sales, a lot of businesses, what they want to see is how resilient is this person. Sales is a tough job. Anyone will tell you it's a very rewarding job. But what they want to see is somebody that once they get that first no on a phone call, they're not going to take that very personally. They're going to think, right, do you know what? That's a no, but that's an opportunity. The next call is an opportunity to absolutely smash it. So I think showing that attitude is paramount. And
okay.
Yeah.
And how would you recommend, or maybe on some of the examples, how would you see people showing their resilience when looking for a sales job? So any examples?
Yeah, I think just not giving up straight away. I think the first thing that we see was people like you can be one phone call or one email away from landing that dream job. I've spoken to people who during the pandemic, more specifically, kind of thought, okay, there is no jobs out there right now. And they gave up for a few months. And unfortunately, you had other people that didn't give up. And those people that didn't give up, it took a little bit longer, but they did get that role, and they haven't. They've had that role now with a fantastic company, and they've grown on it. Yeah. So I think just not giving up like that is paramount.
Yeah, not giving up, indeed. Okay, and let's move on to the next part. So this is where we wanted you guys to maybe share from recruiters' perspective. what is happening currently with the roles you're currently hiring. And yeah, if you just can give us an overview and some insights about those, please do so.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to start. Sorry, Ethan, for interjecting there, but
yeah, no,
do you want me, shall I go first or?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, very good. So at the moment in Dublin, I'm working with a process automation business. So these are a SaaS company that have been particularly in the Irish and UK market now for over 15 years. So put simply, they work with organizations to automate business processes. And they do that specifically within sectors such as finance using their accounts payable solution. So how do they do that? Effectively, they work with different stakeholders within their clients to understand their business requirements and build solutions that are fit for purpose, so bespoke to the client's needs. At the moment, with this particular client in Dublin, we're recruiting for a software engineering manager to join them on a permanent basis. It's an opportunity where work from home is available 2 or 3 days per week. You'd be managing a team of 9 developers and 7 QA engineers. There's a couple of senior lead developers within the team alongside a QA team leader. Role pays up to 100K. It's a .NET house, so you'd have to have ideally a background within .NET development and clear evidence of being able to lead and manage teams, potentially up to the size of 10 to 15 people, and critically sort of have the ability to build out working with senior stakeholders, but build out a technology roadmap for the software engineering department over the next sort of 3 to 5 years. So that would be one of the key priority roles that the team and I are working on here at the moment in Dublin.
Great. That sounds like an exciting role, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. You know, it's gonna suit somebody, I think, who is potentially at that senior lead developer position at the moment in Dublin, who is willing and has the appetite to now take that next step in terms of having overall responsibility for the department, for the P&L, and sort of the strategic responsibility for leading that department over the next 3 to 5 years, I think is crucial. So slightly less hands-on, it'd be a lot more hands-off than being a sort of lead developer at the minute, but certainly you'd have to still remain very technical, I think, because you're building out the strategic process of the department over the next 5 years.
Very interesting, very, very, very interesting senior role. Thank you so much. And yeah, Ethan, would you give us an overview of some of the roles you would be working on?
Yeah, of course. I think for me, we've got quite a range of roles. We've everything from kind of SDR right up to kind of those management roles. But some of the top priorities that we have right now are the ones you can see in front of us. So, for example, we have an account executive role based in Reading. This is with a business who actually have recently been acquired by an Irish business and are looking to set up their UK outbound sales team. So a really fantastic opportunity for someone to make this opportunity their own. If they have any experience within a Microsoft stack, it will be within mobile security. So if they've been working with things like Intune, that would be absolutely fantastic. Salary-wise, you're looking 55 to 65. If you hit your targets, you're looking double OTE. I mean, brilliant opportunity there for someone to come in and just absolutely smash it. As Jack mentioned earlier on about security being one of those big ones right now, we're seeing that across the board. From my clients right there, 2 out of my 5 roles are within security and fraud protection. So definitely an industry area that's really growing right now.
Okay, really interesting. Thank you. And yeah, look, let's probably one of the questions I wanted to ask each one of you guys here. Clearly, the competition is fierce, and there's a lot of requirements on the role, and it's important for each candidate to stand out as much as possible. What would be number one thing from each one of you that you would say, do this, and this will allow you get the job much faster?
Personalization. Personalize your application. You make that application towards your application to a telco business and to a security business should be totally different. What you need to do is you need to reflect your CV to highlight the skills that are relevant for that role. Make sure to do something that's a little different. Something that I've seen work really well is by sending personalized emails, sending personalized messages. I personally, about 18 months ago, when I was looking for a new opportunity, I basically approached a hiring manager to do something totally different. I sent them a personalized voice message on LinkedIn when the feature just came out. And it was something they said, wow, nobody's ever done this before. It makes you stand out. And it just shows that you've put thought and consideration into this application. You're not just sending a blind message to everyone. So definitely for me, it's that.
That's a very good one. We see really often, I think, and recruiters and anyone working in the HR space, that most of the messages the candidates are actually sending are literally copy paste, and it's a genius tip actually. What about you, Jack?
Yeah, look, I think when applying for roles, I've always been a big advocate of candidates producing or creating a covering letter to attach with their CV for each role that they apply for. I think covering letters can be very vague and generic a lot of the time, but when I speak to my candidates, when we're shortlisting for roles, 2 or 3 of the things that I'd be asking them to sort of answer in the covering letter is answer the question around why do you want to go and work for that particular company. So have some information around that, what attracts you to them as an organization. I think it's important to demonstrate your knowledge of the industry and their competitors, and to provide an insight into your knowledge on that, and just sort of try and demonstrate your overall aptitude, because I think in the tech industry now, not many candidates are being pigeonholed with a very particular role. So I think you need to be able to demonstrate that you've got more to you than just being a software developer. So communication skills need to be on point, being able to deal with different stakeholders and being able to translate technical terms into layman terms, really. So if you can put all of that down in a one-page covering letter along with your CV, then I do think you stand a very good chance of securing the interview. And then I think there's a lot more work to be done when we get you to the interview process, but certainly to get to that stage, personalization, as Ethan said, is critical. And I think if you don't get the opportunity to send a voice note, then the best way to do that is by producing a covering letter.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, cover letters are still in demand, and even though some of the people have other opinions about it, and yeah, I think just to sum up, I would say keeping your message very personal and communicating the right information in the most efficient and short way would be the right approach to stand out in this case.
Yeah.
Okay, and the next part is when I wanted to touch base a little bit on the biggest mistakes the job seekers are making. So how we see the hiring process, essentially everything that's happening before the shortlisting and then the interview stages, right? So Ethan, from the kind of the application point perspective, what are the most common mistakes happening there?
I think the most frustrating mistake that I see is people, because they're looking for a job, they're almost getting a little bit desperate, and it's kind of like a spray and pray kind of approach, like we said, where they'll just copy and paste and send to everyone. And instead of actually looking for a role that, do you know what, I think I'm actually a really good fit for this role, or this company is really close match to what I'm actually looking for. And what's happening with a lot of people then is they're going into these interviews where they're kind of, you can tell that they're not invested in the business themselves. They're not invested in the opportunity, and they're letting themselves down. And unfortunately, it's just kind of, it's almost like that little bit of desperation of, I need to get the job, so I'm going to apply for everything. I think if you're a bit more calculated with it, if you just take that little bit of extra time to research into the roles that you are interested in, focus into that, and you'll see a lot better of a conversion rate from your applications.
Yeah.
Great, thank you so much. And what about the interview stages? What are kind of the most often happening faults there?
Yeah, I think in an interview situation, I think it's key that candidates do their homework and their preparation, so they understand who the panel members are. You know, perhaps you've done some research on LinkedIn and you understand what their backgrounds are and how long they've been with the business. I think it's key as well to know a bit about the company background. And I think that's a really obviously generic question around what do you know about us, but it is key to demonstrate that you've gone to the effort to learn more around how the company were formed and what situation that business are in at the minute. I think that's important. And, you know, I'd go as far as saying that just to have some information around what makes you stand out to the other 3 or 4 candidates that they might be interviewing at the final stage, it is key as well. So your demonstration again of the industry and the competition, and in the SaaS industry in particular, obviously they've got different products. So do you have any knowledge of the products? Have you been on YouTube to see what the features are of each of these products, and just try and do as much preparation as possible? I've had, you know, over the last 12 months since the market's picked up again, there's been lots of really talented candidates that have got through to final round interview, and they think it's a given that they're going to get the role. And, you know, the ones that tend to put the most effort in at that point and do their research and do more homework into the product, the business that the journey that the business are going on, they're the ones that tend to be most successful. So it's inevitable. You have to do as much preparation as possible to stand out to the competition. So I'd be focusing on that really, and also focusing on your strengths, and have some examples too in the interview of where, you know, you may have dealt with difficult stakeholders, and try and have some examples of that is key too. And finally, the last part would be, you know, when it's your opportunity to pose questions to the panel, certainly have 3 or 4 really good questions to ask the panel, because I think that again demonstrates your, you know, the enthusiasm for the role, and the effort that you've gone to ensure that opportunity that you've got goes down well with the panel members.
Great, thank you so much. That is a brilliant insight. And speaking of the questions, I've seen that we had already a question coming in that we will cover just in a second on the Q&A section. So just in terms of what happens next, we as a business have developed the solution for those who are struggling during their job search. And this is an online course, and we're really, really proud of our stats, because 90% of those who complete the course, they get on to get a job within the next 3 months. And here's just a quick snapshot of the people who have gone and completed the course and have successfully landed their jobs. And this is the list of the companies, which is keeps on increasing every week. And these are just some of them. Where our people are currently gaining their work experiences. And for everyone who is here as an attendee, we've got a bonus for you, and it's a 70€ off for the course and just the offer, which will be expiring on Friday midnight. Make sure you access it, and there will be a link there in the chat box as well. You'll receive it over the email. And the second service that we provide is the one-to-one coaching session. So whether it's an interview preparation, or for example, you need a little bit boost in your confidence, or you are maybe a little bit on the crossroads and you need a little bit of coordination here from the subject matter experts, this is where we step in. And I had a notification today on LinkedIn that one of the people who have taken the one-to-one coaching has landed a job in London as a sales development representative.